Hello and welcome to this UiPath demo on working with queues in Orchestrator. In the previous video, we created a queue populated with 99 transaction items and then consumed 2 of them. In this new video, we're taking things further by creating and running queue triggers, then by enabling SLAs and SLA predictions. Let's begin. We're here in Orchestrator, and here's our queue from the previous demo in the Queues tab of the root folder. As you can see, it has 97 items unprocessed. Let's click the 3-dotted menu of our queue and select Add Trigger. Triggers allow us to configure automated ways of consuming queue items. In large-scale deployments, where the use of robots needs to be efficient and effective, triggers are extremely important. Now, there are 2 types of triggers: time triggers, which are basically schedules for job executions, and queue triggers, time triggers that can be valuable when a given process needs to be run with a certain cadence. But in this video, we'll be focusing on queue triggers, which tend to be more versatile. Let's first choose a name for our trigger and select the process from this drop-down. This contains the processes available in the current folder. We'll go for the performer created earlier. We can choose a specific user for this trigger, or we can leave it blank so that it will be executed by any of the available users in the folder. The fields on the right are extremely important. The first one is about the number of items needed to trigger the first job. Now, this is useful when you don't want the process to start before there's a specific number of items in the queue. The maximum number of pending and running jobs allowed will determine the pace of the trigger, and it has to be matched with the allocated runtimes and the number of robots. Let's set this to 2 for this example, given that we have 2 robots and 2 machines with unattended licenses. The third field is meant to specify the number of new items added to a queue for starting a new job. This is extremely useful when queues are being populated in an unscheduled way. Let's have this set to 2. Keep in mind that this number is counted on top of the maximum number of pending and running jobs set before. We can also choose the time zone and even set the non-working days. Moreover, depending on the automation context, triggers can be disabled at a certain date and time by first enabling the toggle on the bottom right and then choosing a date and time. But we'll leave it as it is for now. All of the options for our trigger are in place, so let's create it. And here it is. Our trigger is now enabled. Here's how this works. Every 30 minutes, an automation check of the unprocessed items is made. And if the number meets the conditions that we've set at the trigger creation, the process will start. We have a few more options for the trigger that we've created. For example, we can disable it from here, or we can further edit, view, disable, or remove it from the 3-dotted menu. Now let's go back to the queues page to add an SLA. We'll select our queue and choose Edit. As you probably know, SLA stands for Service Level Agreement. What this basically does is to attach a deadline for queue items which don't have one set already. Moreover, by setting up the risk SLA, we're taking into account the processing time and whether we run the chance of missing the deadline. To add an SLA, we only need to click Enable SLA and customize it. We'll input 2 hours for the SLA and 1 hour for the risk SLA. Everything looks good here, so let's click Update and then refresh our queue. Our trigger started the process, as you can see by the number of the successfully processed items, which has increased to a total of 4. If we navigate to Automations and then to Jobs, we can see the 2 new jobs at the top. And as a source for them on the right, notice the name of the queue trigger that we've created. Let's also go on the Monitoring page, the SLA tab. As we can see, there are no issues. The average handling time is 6.66 seconds. In case the average handling time gets higher, the SLA may be at risk. At that point, we'll see here the number of necessary robots to get things back on track. Alright, this concludes our demo on using queue triggers and SLAs. These are very powerful features used at runtime to ensure that queue items are processed without disruptions. See you next time.